My wife and I had been interested for quite a long time in reducing our energy footprint. And one of the key ways for us to do that with an existing home was to be able to put solar on the roof. Unfortunately, we lived about a mile over that way, tucked into the woods, so that house was not suitable for doing that. So we specifically looked around for a house in this area that we could put solar panels on. What that meant was we wanted a south-facing roof, no trees blocking that portion of roof, and we told our real estate agent we wanted a house with an old roof. I think we were the only people in the market that were looking for an old roof, because we knew that we were going to put on solar panels, which have a long life, probably 25 or more years. And so we wanted to put a new roof onto the house before we put the panels on. We found this house and it met all the requirements. We bought it in 2017, and then 2018, as soon as we could, we put on a new roof. And we specifically put in that section on the far left of the front, a standing seam metal roof on that section. And that's an odd choice. People don't generally do that, and it's expensive, about twice as expensive as shingles. We only did that section because we knew that was where we wanted to put the panels. And the beauty of it is with standing seam metal roofs, you can put the panels on and they clip right to the standing seams. You don't have to put any frame. You don't have to have any roof penetrations. And so literally the panels just clip right on. And when we got all done doing it, I mean, you can see it aesthetically, it turned out great because the panels really hug the roof and it looks like it was designed for that. And we're really happy with that choice. We put the new roof on, and then shortly thereafter, we started looking around for a solar installer, because we knew we wanted to get on with that as quickly as we could. So we did interview a number of installers, and of course we were not looking for financing. So we knew we were going to just make the investment. So we weren't looking for somebody whose game was mostly the loan part of that. We don't care. So we wanted somebody who could do a great job, maintain it after the fact, and just do quality work for us. Chatted with several, and ultimately we picked Exact Solar to do that, and we have not been displeased at all. They've done a great job. They did a great job with the initial installation, and then you'll see we put some additional panels on about 3 or 4 years later, and they did that as well, and it's been an excellent working relationship. Like everything else, if you've never done it before, you have no idea. And so we started looking online. Of course, that's the way everybody finds everything these days. And I also knew some folks in town who knew of Exact Solar through some of their other projects. And so every indication was that they had a good reputation in the business. They were doing a mix of residential and municipal buildings and things like that. So we knew they had the skill set that could do it. And after we talked to them, we were very confident. It was a combination of things. We weren't shopping just on price, although obviously price matters. But it was really about designing the right solution, and we really felt like they had the right solution for us in terms of specific panels, inverters, the sizing, the whole thing. It seemed to fit perfectly with what we needed. The first set of panels we put up, it's about 1,000 square feet of panels. It's hard for people to conceptualize. A lot of times people think it takes just like acres of panels to do things, and it doesn't. 1,000 square feet of panels, which the roof on this house, because of the length of the house and the pitch, is about 7,000 square feet. 1,000 square feet of panels on a roof that's 7,000 square feet will provide all the electricity this house needs. And so we sized it that way, and we had what we felt like was the perfect place for it, and architecturally it blended in beautifully. That was the right size. Then as time went on and we watched the performance of the system, and the system performed right to specs. We have about just over 15 kilowatts of capacity on the system based on the 2 inverters that we have. But we watch the curve each day, and the way solar works is as the sun rises, you start to pick up, and then you peak about the middle of the day in the summertime, and then you fall off. And of course, you have to adjust for daylight saving time because the sun doesn't care about daylight saving time. You see that nice curve, and the top of that curve is kind of where your maximum capacity is. So the longer you can spend toward the top, the more total production you get out of it. And we noticed we weren't really coming online in any big way until late morning. And so once you have a good thing, you want more of that good thing. And we thought, well, what if we put some panels on the east side of the house? And so that's what we did up here, is we put another about 400 square feet of panels, another 20 panels. What is the mostly east facing. The front of the house facing 21 degrees west of south. And so this is 21 degrees south of east. And so it's perfectly positioned to catch the early morning sun. And so sunrise, and as soon as it gets above the neighbor's house, boom, we're making power. So 7 o'clock in the morning in the summertime, we're making power. And then we make power all day long, and peaks and then it kind of maxes out at what the inverters can produce, and then finally starts to fall off once the sun falls below that set of trees over there. We make power for hours and hours during the day in the summertime. We make power year round, it's just we don't make as much in the winter. Although I will tell you, some of our best individual days often fall in March or April, which seems kind of strange. And what situation is at that point is you've got enough hours of daylight that you can make power. The temperatures are lower, and solar panels actually prefer cooler temperatures. And so if you've got a nice bright sunny day in April where you can see the sun all day long and it's cool, you're going to make a lot of power. So our best individual days may be March or April, but our best months are always in the summertime when we get long days, full sun. So we're making power today for sure. You know, a day like this, what's not to like? Given how many people have to get involved in it, it can never be perfectly smooth and hassle-free. Exact Solar did a great job. Their piece of it was terrific. The long pole in the tent is always working with Pico. And so you've got approval processes and then sign-off processes. And so you've got the whole system in and it's ready to go, and then you're waiting for their final sign-off, you know, and that's just a hassle. And there's just no way around it. They were great. You know, that the way we had it set up initially with the panels on the standing seam metal roof, it was a perfect setup for installation, because what they were able to do is just run the electrical around the end of the house, punch into the attic. The attic runs literally from the far end of the house all the way to over the garage here. And so they were able to do a long run of electrical in the attic. And that is the only penetration. There are no roof penetrations on that side. The only penetration is on the sort of the gable end of the house. So clean, neat, couldn't be better. This took a little more doing because this has to have a frame under it because it's over shingles. But it doesn't matter because it's a garage. So what? Why do we care? So I couldn't be happier with the way that all turned out. I got asked this a number of times early in the game as solar was kind of still a new thing. And everybody's thinking, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. And no, there's an initial investment, but there's a payback to all of that. And so over the course of time, it's just been spectacular. And then, of course, I went and I bought 2 electric vehicles. So now I don't have any electric bill. I don't have any gasoline bill. It's great. Fuel my cars up in my garage. A day like this, I think, hey, I ought to plug the car in because I'm making so much power. I produce more power in the aggregate than I use for the house and the 2 cars. And I lend that to Pico. And over the course of time, they'll let me use it. But if I don't use it all, ultimately they'll pay me for it. Every year, I make a little money on selling power to Pico, and I make a little money on selling solar renewable energy credits. Every megawatt hour of electricity that a solar producer, I'm a solar producer, makes, it's worth 1 solar renewable energy credit, what they call SRECs. SRECs are tradable in the marketplace. And so you can sell those right into the market. And I got a broker that sells SRECs into the market. And so every year I get some income off of SRECs. It's not a big money item. Last year I made about $700 selling SRECs, but it's like free money. So what's not to like about that? And I'm now at the point where I've reached the end of the payback period. So I've recouped my investment in the system. So from my perspective, it's all good. It's all gravy from here on out. The other thing I would say is once you start producing your own electricity, you start thinking about things a little differently. And so, now I can't imagine having something other than an EV because my electricity is free. So why would I put gasoline in a car? I mean, that would be crazy. I swapped out our propane stovetop for an induction stovetop. Again, I have free electricity, so why wouldn't I go induction? We had an air conditioning fail on the far end of the house. We replaced it with a heat pump, so that became our primary heating on that end of the house. It's electric instead of running propane, all to the good. Once you start thinking about your lifestyle in terms of, now I've got as much electricity as I need, and it's free, essentially. There's no marginal cost to it. I might as well use it. Literally, I get an energy bill from Pico every month that says you owe 0, I mean literally 0, and it tells me how much I have in the bank with them. So Pico is essentially a savings account now. They're not a vendor selling me something. They're just holding my money, and they'll send it to me at some point later. So it's great. And same thing with the cars. One does not buy a Lucid to save money. Okay, I'll give you that one. But it certainly is lovely that you never have to stop at a gas station. There's no cost to that. I can easily fuel both cars in here and drive on sunshine every day. Solar is a huge opportunity for this country. And anybody that can find a way to do that. Now, obviously, I lived in a house tucked in the woods. I know you can't put solar on every house, but there are enough rooftops in this country that if everybody put solar on their rooftops that was suitable for solar, half of all the energy needs of the United States could be met by those solar installations. How much better off would we all be if we had moved away earlier from fossil fuels? We weren't trying to get petroleum vessels through the Straits of Hormuz. I mean, that's just, we would all be better off. So I think anybody that can do it, I would encourage you to go ahead. Take the plunge. There's a period of time to make your money back, but you'll make it all back. And solar panels, they last a long time. They don't fail. They degrade very slowly over time, 0.5% to 1% a year. But at the end of 25 years, you still got 80 to 90% of your original capacity. Most of the solar panels that get removed in this country get sold to someplace else and used as solar panels. It's not like they get ground up or anything. And they get removed because you can get better panels now and cheaper panels now. When I put these panels on the garage, they each produced more power than the panels I put on originally, and they were each cheaper than the panels I put on originally. And that's been the trend of solar for the last decade at least. Each year they get cheaper and each year they get better. What's not to like? I don't know of very many other things that get cheaper and better every year.